Hey everyone, thanks for being here and checking out the channel. If you like the video, please remember to hit the like button. And if you subscribe, leave a comment below. I reply to every comment personally. When I first stepped onto the creaking porch, the house seemed like a lot more than I knew I could handle. The project was something me and Lexi dreamed of together. But ever since her mum passed away, she was never the same. Now I ended up here by myself, a widower with no family, and a massive project on my hands that I promised her, on her deathbed, I would get done. When we bought the place, it seemed like a massive bargain, even though it needed a full-on rebuild. But we loved the idea of working on a house and wanted it to be our life. I pushed the door open, allowing it to shriek and cry all the way until it hit the wall. When I walked inside, the wall seemed straight out of some demonic possession movie, darkened and softened by mold. The stairs had an old, ripped-apart carpet that still tried to smoothly cover the steps. I was afraid of stepping on it though, thinking there might be holes underneath from the rotten wood. A mouse scurried away past the end of the hallway. I spotted small holes in the corners between the walls and the floor. Cockroach infestation, I guessed. But I had nothing better to do on Halloween night than knocking down a wall full of creepy crawlies. This house had murders, natural deaths and fear smeared all around it. It was old enough to have it all, but none of us ever believed in anything like that. And, again, a house that size and in that location. Bargain. I dropped my bags in the middle of the living room, making the old, half-broken piano strings vibrate for a bit, going silent when a car sped by outside. I took a deep, moldy breath in and looked around, thinking about what the first thing I had to do was. I would have thought that since I was sleeping there, cleaning the mold would probably be a good thing. But then again, why clean it up if the walls were coming down anyway? First thing to do was step back out and bring the mattress that was resting on top of my car inside. Once that was done, I brought out the broom and swept the whole area I was going to sleep in. There was every kind of bug possible, lying dead and dusty around, bits and pieces of old paper and wood and broken glass from people trying to come in to do disgusting things. Cigarette butts and sticky things. I didn't want to look much. So, once I was done sweeping, I pushed everything into a corner I couldn't see and was all done. And next, just dinner and sleep. I covered the mattress with the bedding, held my phone against my bottle of water and sat on my makeshift bed, ready to watch more episodes of Mr. Bolin and the Y-Files. It probably only made me paranoid, sitting in an abandoned house all by myself at night, but I still loved to watch them. I had to pause the videos and my dinner when I heard a low, tiny creak towards the kitchen. The old, dark and half-rotten wallpaper made everything worse when I looked around to see what was making the floor creak. Probably some rat. I stood up slowly, still wary of what was happening, when it just stopped. I stepped onto the kitchen and tried to turn on the light on instinct, knowing it wouldn't actually turn on. When it didn't, since the noise was done, I just went back to my shows and dinner, finished it, and went to sleep. The next day was going to be busier. The first obvious sign that things might not go so great came when I brought my sledgehammer down on the old ceramic sink. It was already full of cracks and missing bits, so it came apart almost in a planned way, but the environment shifted completely. Suddenly, it felt dark and heavy, even though the light and the air were exactly the same. I felt myself trembling on the inside and had to backtrack into the kitchen corner until things seemed to calm down. But after they did, I explained it away with some weather problem, calmed myself down and went back to it. I breezed through the rest of the day and finished my day with the same routine again. Mr. Bolin and the Y-Files for an extra dose of paranoia at the end of the day. And like the usual sunshine before the storm, that was the last normal night I had in that house. The morning after, I woke up feeling completely rested. I stood up, got ready, remembered my wife for the usual 30 minutes of nostalgia, and went out to buy some more equipment and material for the work for the day. The day breezed by with no problems, but when I got to my loner night ritual, the scurrying in the kitchen came back. This time I stood up with revenge in my mind, wanting payback for this rat creeping me out. I jumped up, picked up my broom and marched towards the kitchen while muttering insults under my breath. But when I got to the kitchen, there was nothing. I circled around the aisle and nothing. When I was walking back to the living room, paint stains splattered around the floor. I thought I heard my name being called to my ear. I even felt goosebumps from a breath. I jumped, swung the broom around, ready to murder whoever was doing that, and no one. Obviously, no one else had the key to the house, and if they had broken in, I would have heard something. I slowly stepped back into the kitchen to see if I could catch anything, and it seemed like something was moving in the corner. I looked closer. A curtain, of course. A dirty, old and ripped apart curtain. I paced towards it and ripped it off the hole onto the floor. When I did, I watched the piece of cloth slowly fall until it caught on something. Something that gave it a human shape the size of a child. My heart almost gave out as I saw a small grey and red eye with burnt up skin around it peek through one of the curtain tears. I lost my breath for a second, and then swiped at it with the broom. The curtain floated away, lightly like nothing was ever there. I had no idea what to do. The house barely had any light, and I didn't have any money to go sleep in the nearest motel. The only option I had left that I could think of was closing myself off in the living room and hoping that nothing could come through there. I ended up trying to sleep with my phone's flashlight on, but the house seemed to have come alive that night. I had no idea what to do. There were footsteps coming from the second floor. Floorboards creaking all around the ground floor, and the weak white light kept coming and going from under the sliding doors leading to the entrance. I huddled against the corner in the living room closest to the window and behind the destroyed piano, and tried to calm down, eventually falling asleep. Just before I did though, I heard a voice in my ear saying my name. When I woke up, the sun was already high in the sky. I looked at my phone and nothing. It was dead. Completely drained. I plugged it onto a socket and wished for it to not explode. I was determined that day I was going to make so many changes and so much progress that nothing there would stand a chance. I ate a hard piece of bread that I had brought with me fresh 2 days ago and was out the door getting all the equipment I need from my car. I brought in the sledgehammer and proceeded to examine the kitchen cupboards. About 5 minutes into it, I decided they were too far gone to work with, so I smashed them to bits. The house seemed to shift slightly, but I didn't care. Once that was done, I moved on to the bathroom entrance and did the same. Most of the house's interior was gone by the start of the afternoon, and I could feel the air getting heavier, almost too heavy to breathe in. I wanted to smash some of the boards off the windows, but I didn't have the replacements to put in yet, so that would have to be left for another night. It was when I opened the door to the last room in the house that everything changed. The room seemed to be a stranger's. It had posters of old famous bands on the walls, half-rotten wallpaper that had rips here and there with faint writing on the actual wall. I went closer to the window, trying to decide what to go for first, and I thought I saw someone's figure reflecting in the thin old glass window. I jumped around to find nothing. I laughed to myself, thinking I was becoming more and more paranoid, starting to see things, when I felt my throat getting tighter and tighter, squeezed by something I couldn't see or understand. I could barely get any air through my windpipe and was starting to panic. When I was let go of, I had almost no blood left in my legs to make them useful. When I finally got my strength back, I tried to run outside, but the door slammed shut on me and the room went darker and darker until it seemed like it was dawn on a cloudy day outside. A big, deep voice reverberated through the room, shaking my head into fear and more panic. I just wanted to leave. I would think about what to do with the house later, but right now I had to get out. The noise got louder and louder, pulling away at my heartstrings stronger and stronger until I just couldn't take it anymore. That's when something strange happened. Suddenly, almost like a defense mechanism from my body, the opposite became true. I became completely blissful, my mind completely charged an idea. A memory formed inside my brain. She didn't leave us. You made her. I snapped out of it like I had been punched on the chest. All the memories my brain was protecting me from rushing back into my consciousness. The same words repeating over and over again in my head. She didn't leave us. You made her. The voice, the noise, the vibration, everything stopped altogether, all of a sudden, and was left with my miserable thoughts and an empty house. Knowing what I had done and suppressed like I deserved to be that traumatized. A few years back, me and my wife were a happy couple, planning life. Then her mom died and she was left in a pit of sadness that I didn't know how to deal with. For a long time, I decided the best strategy was to ignore her. Everything would go back to normal in the end. Only it never went that way. I deserved to feel exhausted and selfish. I told her how she was being too hard to deal with and how I didn't have the patience. I left for work. When I came back, she had left the earth never to return. That's what I now know, standing here in this rotten teenager bedroom on top of a bed. For ignoring her and making her go, I don't feel like I should stay too. This house will be abandoned, alone for a little longer. Thank you for being here and watching the full video. I hope you enjoyed the story and the narration. If you did, be sure to spook the like button. And if you subscribe to the channel, please comment below. I answer all the comments personally.